You're listening to the Geekcast Radio Network of podcasts.
Somewhere in the Arctic.
Hold it! I'm getting something on the sonar!
Dwells a legend.
I'm getting strong readings from the cap rock, sir!
Waiting for the day.
What is it?
Better watch out, you better not cry.
He'll come to town. He's the greatest Santa the world has ever known.
I love what you guys do, thinking outside the box.
Thanks, Santa. You're the man.
That's why they gave me the big belly.
He's made his list and checked it twice, but he forgot to read
the single most important detail in the history of Christmas.
The fine print.
I've got to get married? Yes, it's Mrs. Claus.
Walt Disney Pictures presents Tim Allen.
I don't think there's a woman out there that doesn't want a piece of this.
The Santa Claus 2.
Hello and welcome to the 77th episode of M-Wire, brought to you by the Geekcast Radio Network. I am your host, Steve Mike, and joining me once again is Tara, aka Rising Star. Hello.
Hey.
Yes, and in episode 76, we completely forgot to mention this. Episode 76 was your first time on Movie Week in Review.
Yep.
Oh, yes, I know, I'm a bad host.
Another podcast you get to hear me on.
Yes, oh yes. We're going to be using you in a lot of stuff coming up.
Well, I'm excited.
Yeah, I wanted to find someone who, because we've got to kick these Santa Claus movies out in time for Christmas, and I wanted to find someone who has seen them and who could actually talk about them, and so that's why Tara's here. Because if Kevin Optimus Solo Thompson was here, well, he would probably be trashing the films because he doesn't like Tim Allen.
Don't hate on Tim Allen. Not cool.
That's Tim Allen.
Oh. Home Improvement was the bomb.
Yeah, it's from Home Improvement. And today we are going to be continuing the Santa Claus trilogy with the Santa Claus 2, the Mrs. Claus. When did you first see this one?
I saw it probably, I'm pretty sure I did go to see it in theaters when it came out.
Mm-hmm.
I was a little bit old. I was a little bit older, so it came out in 2002, so I definitely did go see it in theaters.
Yeah.
And I really enjoyed seeing it.
I don't know if this is one I saw. I know I didn't see 1 or 3 in theaters. I know I didn't see 1 or 3 in theaters. And it surprises me how old 1 is.
Oh, 1994.
Yeah, I could have sworn it came out...
Like later?
Yeah, like 98, 99, but... Looking back on it and looking back on like all the Home Improvement, not all the Home Improvement references that are in the first film, but like just those 2 with the tool belts and stuff. Looking back on that, it's like, okay, yeah, that makes sense because Home Improvement was on back then. So yeah. Santa Claus 2, also known as, or The Santa Claus 2, also known as Santa Claus 2 or The Santa Claus 2, The Mrs. Claus, is a 2002 American fantasy romantic comedy film and a sequel to the 1994 film The Santa Claus. All the principal actors from the first film reprised their roles except for Peter Boyle, who returns portraying another character in a minor role. According to the Box Office Mojo, the film cost around $65 million to make and had domestic U.S. box office receipts approaching $139 million. Well, at least it made its money back. The film was followed by another sequel, Santa Claus 3, which we'll talk about later. It was made in 2006. The latter film is the last installment of the series. Do you want to take some of the plot here?
Sure. Do you want me to read the beginning? Or
yeah, sure. We'll just start at the beginning, and then I'll interrupt you at some point with favorite scenes or whatever.
Sure. So, it's been 8 years since Scott Calvin first took up the Santa Claus suit, and became the subject to the Santa Claus. Now he's at the top of his game at the North Pole, and he couldn't be happier, at least until Bernard and Curtis, the keeper of the Handbook of Christmas, break the news that there is another Claus, the Mrs. Claus. Now, Santa/Scott is now pressed to get married before the next Christmas Eve, or the clause will be broken and Christmas will die away. At the same time, Abby, the elf, delivers news that is more distressing. Santa's own son, Charlie, is on the naughty list. It then cuts to Charlie one night defacing the walls of his school gymnasium from the sky window until he is caught by Principal Carol Newman. Scott must return to his home to search for a wife and set things right with Charlie. And, yeah.
Oh, boy. This movie breaks the fourth wall so many. I mean, not like literally the fourth wall with the audience, but just it's not really breaking the fourth wall. Maybe it's jumping the shark.
I agree with that.
Because I don't get me wrong. I just on a pure enjoyment level, I like this film. But as a reviewer, I have to say some bad stuff about this one. This one, it's nice that the story is continuing and all that. And I get that time has passed. Charlie has grown up into a teenager type. But seriously, he's on the naughty list.
Oh, no.
If you're Santa Claus's son, you don't get put on the naughty list.
How does that happen? What kind of logic is at work here?
And what I love about this film is, don't they use the original card?
Yes, they do.
Yeah, they do. They use the original card because, the first Santa Claus is kind of like, even though you have to use a magnifying glass for it, it's kind of in big print. Mm-hmm. And then the Mrs. Claus is in smaller print under it. Oh my god.
That part I didn't really get. Was like, okay, there's another clause on the card. Interesting. And in order to see it, you gotta use a magnifying glass.
Yeah. Oh boy. Oh, holy crap. I did not know that.
But it added a romantic aspect to the film, so...
Yes, it did.
I had no issues with that.
Yeah, it did. Well, one of the things I did not know is that the Sandman is played by Worf himself, Michael Dorn. All you Star Trek nerds out there, rejoice. Worf is the Sandman. Oh my god, that's so funny. Oh man. What do you think of the whole, this whole magical beings council thing?
I thought that was pretty interesting and pretty unique to get, to see them and, get acquainted with them. I thought that was pretty interesting. I can't remember too much about them, but it was interesting.
I thought it was weird that they had Aisha Tyler as Mother Nature.
Oh, yeah, I remember that. Yeah, that was odd.
And then they actually changed Peter Boyle's role to Father Time instead of being Scott's boss at the toy company. From the previous film, they altered his role for this film. In the third film, he plays Father Time. And Jay Thomas is the Easter Bunny. That's just hilarious. What made sense? Worf as Sandman? I guess. I don't know. I'm just waiting for him to speak some Klingon. So what was your favorite scene in this one?
Oh my god, the most favorite scene for me was when Scott and the principal go on the sleigh ride.
Carol, yeah.
Yeah, and it's not snowing, but then it just starts snowing, and you see it's only snowing on them.
Yep.
That was so cute and so romantic, and it was so well done. I loved it.
Yeah. For me, I like the stuff with Charlie a little bit because, I mean, it's nice to see that he's not like, something obviously has changed with him. I mean, yeah, the first film was great, but something, whether it's his dad being Santa, whether it's his mom, obviously his parents aren't together. He's technically they're a blended family now. Mm-hmm. So I don't know if something changed within him. I'm not sure, what that was, and I'm actually surprised, and I'm kind of glad that they waited the length of time that they waited to make this one, to have it released in 2002, because as you said earlier, majority of the cast returns, which includes Eric Lloyd, who was the original Charlie in the first film, and I was surprised. I was like, really?
He grew up.
That's the same. Yeah, he grew up, and I was like, wow, that looks nothing like the kid from the first film.
Well, that's generally what happens. I mean, look at the Harry Potter cast.
No, thank you.
They grew up. He grew up. So, I mean, well, there's a huge gap between 94 and 2002.
True.
So that's why. I guess they wanted to bring him back because they maybe didn't want to introduce another actor because the audience got acquainted with the actor in the first movie. Mm-hmm. So they made that decision, and it worked out. It worked out in their favor.
Yes, it did. Actually, this was the second or third time that I had seen the actor Spencer Breslin as Curtis, as the elf underling, or the second elf to Bernard. The first time I'd seen him was in a Disney Channel original movie called The Ultimate Christmas Present. It was very, very cool. So who is your favorite character out of this one?
I'm going to have to say I still like Scott.
Yeah.
I'm sticking with Scott. Just gotta.
Yeah, I do too. I also like the addition of Elizabeth Mitchell as Carol. Mm-hmm. Obviously, she comes from, not really comes from a bad background, but she comes from, trying to, I don't tell what I'm trying to say here. She's had a past, and it's not always been happy. Mm-hmm. And there's just something in Scott because he is Santa Claus, and it's not just because he has the magic, it's because the two of them are falling in love. That, it just works. I mean, their chemistry between Tim Allen and Elizabeth Mitchell, it's believable. It's not where you look at it and say, oh, that's completely fake.
Yeah. Yeah, there was some really well done acting in this movie.
Yes.
Especially with the romantic aspect. It was pretty well done. It was believable. And I thought they were a very cute on-screen couple together.
Yes. What do we think of the film's antagonist, Toy Santa?
Oh, no. Oh, God, I don't want to remember that guy.
Oh, God.
Oh, no. I'm just like, no. So
everybody's getting coal this year. Everybody's been bad. Everybody's been naughty. Everybody's getting coal. No more presents.
I was just like, no. He's a fail. I don't like him.
He is, but at the same, he's not a favorite character of mine. But at the same time, I like how they allowed Tim Allen to play both regular Santa and Toy Santa. Mm-hmm. Because it gives Tim more room to act.
Definitely.
I mean, most of the voice actors and writers and stuff that I've talked to over the last year and a half have said, the characters they love to play are the bad guys, or the characters they love to write for are the bad guys, because there's so much you can do with them.
Yeah, bad guys are always interesting.
Yes.
Sometimes, I'll be honest, sometimes I like the villain more than I like the hero.
Yeah.
It happens sometimes, and if that happens as an audience, as a viewer, then the writer...
What the hell is this? Never mind. Go ahead. Sorry. Stupid ad. Go ahead, continue.
Then the screenwriter has done a great job, because you fall for the villain more than the hero, and you want to see the villain succeed, not the hero. So it shows good writing and well thought out.
Yes, it does. Comet wasn't in this one, was he? Or if he was, he only had like one scene.
Yeah, Comet.
Yeah, and then they brought in Chet. Oh.
Don't remember that guy too well.
Chet was the reindeer.
Oh, no, yeah, the reindeer, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that other is that the reindeer in training?
Yeah. Well, Chet. Because Comet was the reindeer from the first film, and then Chet is the newest reindeer that's in training, and Kath Soucie voiced Chet.
Aww. Didn't Chet bash into things and he wasn't a very good reindeer?
Yeah.
Now I remember. Yes, now I remember.
That's why he's in training.
Yeah, because he can't fly properly. Aw. Poor reindeer.
Yeah. So yeah, I think you're right. Santa Claus, Scott Calvin, obviously favorite character. As I said, I also like Carol Newman as well. I thought just the two of them, the way that they interacted was very well done. Judge Reinhold pretty much took a back seat on this one. I mean, it's gotten to a point because so much time has passed within the films that 8 years has passed, that they're used to, like Charlie's mom and Neil, they're used to it, so they've accepted it. So there's not really any angst from them. It's more of, oh hey, we've figured out the family issues, let's bring in a plastic villain. So let's get into some trivia.
Trivia time. Had to say that. Alright, so Toy Santa's line, "You are a sad, strange little man," is also used by Tim Allen as Buzz Lightyear in Toy Story. Also, when the Toy Santa says, "I think Santa feels a little buzz," it's from him being Buzz Lightyear in Toy Story. Very interesting.
That's awesome.
Awesome. love Buzz Lightyear.
Love Toy Story.
Yeah, in Toy Story. On the back wall of the little girl's room is a poster for the Disney cartoon Kim Possible.
I'm not surprised.
Not surprised. It was a good cartoon.
Yes.
In the restaurant scene, you can hear extras in the background repeatedly saying the same thing, such as, "Oh my god, I'll drink to that," and "Cheers." Didn't notice that.
No, I didn't either.
When Santa is on his first date with the aspiring singer-songwriter, if you look at her shirt, the face of Santa is that of Tim Allen. That's cool. Scott Calvin starts talking about cars and engines while talking to Carol Newman, and while walking through the toy shop, Santa picks up and tries on a tool belt. This refers to Tim Taylor, Tim Allen's character on Home Improvement.
See, that's funny.
Again.
No, it's not funny because it's a reference to Home Improvement. What's funny is the reference in the first film where he looks at the tool belt and says, "nah," or whatever he says. Yeah. Because he didn't think he was that type of person. And in this one, it's like, "oh, hey, I'm going to put this tool belt on." It's a complete 180.
Mm-hmm. That's interesting.
Yes. We have another Kim Possible reference.
Yes. And lots of Kim Possible in this movie.
Yeah, she was pretty popular in 2002.
Oh yeah, she definitely was. Lucy has a Kim Possible poster in her room when the Tooth Fairy comes inside from the window.
Yeah.
Later in the movie, when Scott is mostly de-Santified, he captures the Tooth Fairy. Tooth Fairy, doubting that Scott is Santa Claus, tells him, "I know Santa Claus. I'm friends with Santa Claus. You're no Santa Claus." This is a parody of Lloyd Benson's famous retort to Dan Quayle during the 1988 U.S. vice presidential debate. I wasn't even born then, so I can't really comment.
I never really watched the Quayle debates because, frankly, Quayle's a moron.
And then next, in the opening credits, several Jack in the Boxes open. The last one to open is the same type of Jack in the Box that is seen in numerous times in Elf. Oh God, that's not.
That's exactly why I brought it up in the first in episode 76.
No, let's not. Let's not go
One
there.
of my, I'm going to take this last one here. I love this. The line, "Quit the chit-chat, Chet," comes directly off season 1 episode of Tim Allen's Home Improvement, 1991, where a man named Chet on the phone babbles too much during a game of Stump the Tool Man. I thought that was hilarious.
Hilarious.
Yes. Box office. What do we got for box office or reception here?
I think we mentioned it earlier, did we not?
Yeah, but it's got the critical reception, too.
Oh, the critical reception.
Yes.
All right. Critical reception. The Santa Claus 2 received mixed reviews from critics, garnering a 55% rotten critical approval rating for Rotten Tomatoes, with its consensus that though it's harmless as a family entertainment and has moments of charm, Santa Claus 2 is also predictable and forgettable. Didn't do as well as the first film, apparently.
Again, it's not often that I agree with critics because I'm a type of person that I like what I like, damn everybody else. Mm-hmm. And I'm not saying that everyone else's opinion is wrong, although in Kevin Thompson's case, yes, it is correct. His opinion is wrong. I've got to start throwing Kevin under the bus more often. But I can kind of see why people wouldn't really get this one, but I thought it was cool because, again, as I said before, it continues the story. Mm-hmm. It kind of creates a whole new story because, really, honestly, if you look at the first film, you've got Scott Calvin, single dad or divorced dad or single dad, however you want to classify the guy, mm-hmm. who's all about business, all about toys, selling, everything else, and hardly Santa Claus 1 is the classic father has no time for child type of movie. Or just doesn't make time for his kid, but he wants to. It's kind of sad that I'm almost thinking that Santa Claus and Liar Liar, same film, same year actually too. I think Liar Liar came out in '94. I forget. I don't know. Anyways, it's the same principle. Whereas this one, Charlie's growing up. He's got to kind of take care of his little niece or stepsister or whatever Lucy is. I forget. I think she's the daughter of Neil and Scott's. Wow, that would be crazy. Neil and Charlie. Oh God, she's the daughter of Laura and Neil. So I think she's Charlie's stepsister or half sister or whatever. I don't know. So it's nice that Charlie has someone to eventually share the secret with. But, again, if you see this on TV and there's nothing else good on, and of course, TV nowadays, especially at Christmas time, what the hell is good on at Christmas time? Most of the, regular TV shows nowadays are on hiatus or the season's over by Christmas. So, watch it.
You know what? I'm just going back to the critical reception for a second. Mm-hmm. I'm on the fence here. I mean, like you said, I do understand where they would come from by giving it that lower rating. Because I mean, yeah, maybe it's just because it didn't live up to people's expectations of the sequel. Maybe they weren't expecting that there was going to be a romantic aspect to it. Maybe they didn't like that.
Yeah, maybe they didn't.
Or they just had way too high expectations for the film, and when they saw it, they were just disappointed.
Yeah, I can agree with that. But again, if you're just looking at it as an enjoyment, it's not something that. It's not a film that absolutely sucks.
Yeah, it's not awful. It's not Elf, so it's not a bad movie. I can sit through this movie and not get bored and not want to change the channel or pop another DVD into my DVD player. I enjoy it.
Yes. And as far as speaking of the DVD, it is on DVD. When I went to Wikipedia to get some of the other information, like the critical reception and all that, it had nothing listed for a DVD release, but I know it is on DVD.
It's on DVD.
Yes, it is. We've kind of already given our final thoughts, but I mean, as far as how would you rank it in the trilogy? I mean, I know we haven't talked about Santa Claus 3 yet, but I mean, as far as the first two films, how would you rank them?
I would have to go 1. Mm-hmm. And then 3, and then 2. Well, 1 was, or I'm doing this wrong. I'll just say this. 1 is the best for me.
Yeah.
Then 3, and then 2.
I can agree with that.
Yeah, because there were just some things in 2 that I just didn't get into.
Like what?
I think it's just with development of Charlie, with him being, the rebellious teenager.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was so predictable. Which is what people on Rotten Tomatoes were saying, is that it's predictable.
Yeah.
Because of course, what else can they make Charlie be, the son of Santa Claus? Of course you gotta make him everything that Santa Claus isn't. You gotta make him be the bad boy. I guess that bugged me in some ways.
Yeah, it kind of bugged me too, but at the same time I see why they had to do it, because they had to further the overall storyline.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you look at this film and then you look at Santa Claus 3, he's pretty much on board and everything else, and it's kind of like you have innocent Charlie in the first one, where he's kid and he's innocent, and he wants to know what the clatter is up on the roof and all that stuff. And this one, you have to have him do something against character type, because that way in the third film he can come around kind of full circle and everything would be okay. So, I mean, I could see why this film kind of would bug people, but at the same time, this isn't like a certain Disney animated film sequel that should not have happened. Yeah, dreams don't come true, Disney. Yeah. Sorry much. This isn't like Cinderella 2, where you've got 4 different stories.
Oh, God.
In one movie. This is a fluid story. It continues from the first film, and it goes into the third film. Let's talk about Mrs. Claus, specifically at the end, when she starts getting... Because I was wondering, I'm like, okay, so you're going to have Santa have a hot blonde wife, and Santa be Santa the way Santa's supposed to look, which is fat, white beard, and eats cookies. And I'm a fat guy myself, so I can say that, but it's one of those things where, holy crap, there's no way Santa Claus is going to land a babe that hot. And then, of course, at the end of the credits, we see Carol taking on the effects of the Santa magic and of the whole Mrs. Claus, and we see her in a white, short... I'm hoping that was a wig. I hope they didn't ever cut her hair.
No.
Kind of like a white poofy wig, and she's in this red robe, and she's kind of bouncing around and having fun and everything else. So I thought that was kind of cool, and it's funny because when I first saw this, I think like I said before, I think I did see this in theaters, but I didn't. I don't think I stayed for the credits, because normally, of course nowadays everybody stays for the credits because they always put crap at the end of movies now. But back then, I don't think I stayed for the credits, and I was like, really? Santa's married to a hot blonde teacher? That's it? And then people are like, when it came on DVD, they're like, oh, well, you got to watch the end of the credits, because she does start taking the sound effects. I'm like, oh, okay, that's cool. Very, very, very cool.
Mm-hmm.
Alrighty then. So, oh god, I just pulled another Ace Ventura reference. Yikes. Thank you for joining us here on Movie Week in Review. There are several ways to get in contact with us or leave feedback for the show. Visit the website, geekcastradio.com. Leave the show feedback in iTunes. Please do this. Follow us on Twitter. The show name there is GCRN. Mine is TFG Mike. What is your Twitter?
Tara Blair.
Become a fan on Facebook. Go to facebook.com/GeekCastRadio Network. Call our voicemail line. Tell us the show you're leaving your message for and your name. 502-526-5821. We hope you enjoyed this episode of MWire. I wish you'll join us next time when Steve will be returning with Tara and I when we finish out the Christmas episodes with the Santa Claus 3, The Escape Clause. For now, I am TFG Mike with
Rising Star.
Thank you for listening. Until next time.
It's perfect!
That's because it's me, Einstein.
Santa, are you all right? Are you okay?
Yeah, I got a shock in there. Did I put you in a shock?
It's Snake!
Throw something over.
Right.
It's incredible!
Yes, it is. talk? Hello? 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 Ho, ho, ho. Ho, ho, ho. Not bad. Not bad yourself. I can't put my finger on it, but there's just something about you that I like. There's just something about you that I like. Huh. You watch him. I'll be right back. He's coming right back. Uh-huh.
Bernard, I need your help on this.
What do you mean?
What I mean is I gotta go see Charlie, and I want you to convince the elves that Toy Santa is me.
Have you seen that thing?
I've seen it, and I think if you keep the elves at a distance and tell them that I changed my look, it'll work.
Oh, Santa, we're in way over our heads here.
If anybody can do this, it's you, number one.
Well, I'm not going to lie to all the elves. I myself think he looks absolutely terrific. Better and fresher somehow than he has in years. There's now a more supple veneer to his skin and an added luster to the thickness of his hair. You could almost say there's a toy-like quality to him.
In a world, there, I said it, happy,